What if I told you that people don't ignore the truth because they are stupid? They ignore it because their brain is trying to protect them. And here is the uncomfortable part. This is not just about Trump supporters. It is about you too. Why do some people look at the exact same evidence that you do, the same videos and the same facts, and still walk away believing the complete opposite? Why do they defend something even when it clearly goes against their own values? Are they lying to themselves, or is something deeper happening inside the brain? And more importantly, what if your brain is doing the same thing without you noticing it? Because if you are being honest, you have probably experienced this too. A moment where you knew something did not fully make sense, but you still defended it anyway. Maybe in an argument, maybe in a belief you grew up with, or maybe in something you did not want to question. Why did that happen? Because your brain is not designed to find truth. It is designed to protect identity. Most people think beliefs are based on logic, but they are not. They are based on belonging, identity, and emotional survival. And once a belief becomes part of who you are, losing that belief does not feel like learning something new. It feels like losing a part of yourself. Now let us bring this back. When people analyze strong political loyalty, especially in groups like Trump supporters, they often assume that those people are ignoring reality. But psychology tells a very different story. What looks like denial is often identity protection. For many people, supporting a leader is not just a preference. It becomes part of their identity. It represents who they are, what they stand for, and where they belong. So if a belief becomes part of your identity, what happens when that belief is challenged? Do you calmly analyze it, or do you feel personally attacked? Because your brain does not see it as information. It sees it as a threat. Deep inside your brain, there is a system designed to keep you alive. It does not care about politics. It cares about survival. And when your identity is tied to a belief, any opposing fact feels like danger. So when someone argues against that belief, your brain does not say, "Let us evaluate this logically." It says, "Defend, protect, attack." That is why you see reactions like denial, anger, and deflection. Not because people are stupid, but because their brain is trying to reduce threat. Have you ever noticed how people double down harder the more you try to prove them wrong? Shouldn't more evidence convince them? Or does it sometimes do the opposite? When someone is faced with information that contradicts what they believe, their brain experiences psychological discomfort. This creates tension, almost like mental pain. And the brain hates that feeling. So instead of changing the belief, it changes how reality is interpreted. They question the source. They say it is biased or fake. They deflect by pointing at something else. Or they reinterpret their own belief to reduce discomfort. People do not abandon beliefs easily. They reshape reality to protect them. But here is the part no one likes to admit. This is not just about Trump supporters. This is human nature. Think about it. Have you ever defended someone you knew was wrong? Have you ever ignored something because it made you uncomfortable? Have you ever justified something just to protect your ego? That was not logic. That was your brain choosing emotional safety over truth. Now there is another layer to this. Some people are more sensitive to chaos, uncertainty, and instability. And when the world feels unpredictable, the brain does not look for complexity. It looks for certainty, strength, and control. That is why strong leaders often become appealing, not necessarily because of policies, but because of what they represent emotionally. They represent order and stability. So ask yourself, do people follow leaders because they are right, or because they make them feel safe? Humans are wired for tribes. We need groups, and we need belonging. And once you are part of a group, you do not just adopt its ideas, you protect them. Because rejecting a belief can feel like risking rejection from the group itself. And for the brain, social rejection feels like physical pain. So when you combine identity, fear, belonging, ego, and survival, something powerful happens. You get identity protective thinking. At this point, the brain is no longer searching for truth. It is filtering reality. It accepts anything that supports identity and rejects anything that threatens it. Truth becomes secondary. Protection becomes priority. So now the real question is this. When you see someone refusing to change their mind, are they being irrational or are they protecting something deeper? And more importantly, what beliefs are you holding on to? Not because they are true, but because they feel safe. Because the moment a belief becomes your identity, you stop thinking and start defending. And the scariest part is that you will not even realize it is happening.